Every so often, there are disruptive moments in history that provide moral clarity to the situation and what's going on in the world. In the United States, one would argue that was probably 9/11 here. We heard from our German friends and from other Europeans that February 24th was Germany's 9/11, was Europe's 9/11. By the way, it was no coincidence that Vladimir Putin waited until post-Beijing Olympics, which ended on February 20th. I gotta believe that he sent a save-the-date card to Putin from China to make sure that they had clear air for this invasion. When we were in Germany, we had dinner with the U.S. ambassador to Germany and had a great meeting with the Bundestag, as my colleagues have pointed out. We returned back to the hotel. It was a quiet night in Berlin, and we were just a few blocks away from the Brandenburg Gate. Now, the first president I got a vote for when I was a freshman at Montana State University was Ronald Reagan. And I went back to the Brandenburg Gate that night. I had one of the military escorts walk with me. It was quiet. It was a beautiful evening. And it was at that place on the west side of Berlin, in West Berlin, where Ronald Reagan uttered those famous words, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." That wall is gone. In fact, you can see in Berlin where it used to be. But the people of Berlin are free. But they became free because of the strength we had as a nation, as a world, the resolve to stand up against totalitarianism. Ronald Reagan talked a lot about peace through strength. That message of peace through strength rings true today. I might add something else we talked with some members of the Bundestag and other conversations is peace through energy security. I kind of wonder if President Reagan were here today as he was thinking about energy dependencies, about how important it is who supplies your oil, your natural gas, your coal. If President Reagan were here today, I wonder if he would walk down, perhaps in front of the Capitol, perhaps in front of the White House, and say, "President Biden, drill, baby, drill." Today, Vladimir Putin is weaponizing energy. Just this past September, I had a group of Ukrainian leaders. It was September 30th that came to Capitol Hill. They met in my office. There were some leaders from Odessa. We had a member of the Ukrainian parliament. A former member of the parliament was also there. About half of them could speak English. The other half couldn't. So we did this through a translator. And their number one request was, you've got to shut down the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. That was the number one request. And as they were walking out of my office on September 30th, they handed me a mace. It has a handle about this long. The ball was about this big with great big spikes on it. And it had the Ukrainian colors, the beautiful colors of Ukraine, the yellow and the blue, little silk tassels on the bottom of it. And I thought, well, that's quite a gift to get from the Ukrainian delegation. And they said, "Senator, each one of us has one of these maces on our desks back in Ukraine as a daily reminder of what it is to live under tyranny and authoritarianism." What's happening is a wake-up call for the world. What's happening is a wake-up call on energy. Germany, the United States, the EU, we must reverse an anti-energy course. I think that's a very important part of the dynamic here. And it's not about being opposed to certain types of energy like renewable energy, but let's think of renewable energy as being additive to our portfolio, not a substitution. Germany's gotten in trouble. Other European nations have as well because of this dream of getting rid of fossil fuels. And hopefully there's moral clarity now in the importance of having a diversified, balanced energy portfolio. Now, we said something about a negotiated outcome. There's talk about negotiations. We have conversations with staff, with the military, with many over in Europe on this trip. As much as we would like to see a negotiated outcome, I believe a negotiated outcome is unlikely. If you heard President Zelensky speak to the Knesset yesterday, to the Israelis, he quoted the former Prime Minister Golda Meir, who, by the way, was the Prime Minister during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. She was born in Kyiv. She's Ukrainian. He quoted her, and She said this: "We intend to remain alive. Our neighbors want to see us dead. This is not a question that leaves much room for compromise." That was President Zelensky yesterday speaking to the Knesset. And while humanitarian aid is badly needed, and my colleagues highlighted the importance, and it was heartbreaking to see what we saw, the results of evil. A grandmother sitting on a chair with 2 crutches from the side. She couldn't walk very well. Her belongings probably in 3 bags. I wonder what her story is. And right next to her were 3 little ones. Probably the oldest, I would say, is 5 or 6, a brother and then 2 younger sisters with their little stuffed animals. I mean, they could have been our grandkids. You think what they're going through at the moment. So the humanitarian aid is essential, it's needed, and thank God for these NGOs and for the various government agencies who are responding to this great need. As Angus King said, 3 million refugees, probably 10 million total in terms of displaced. But the bottom line is this: the fastest way to end the suffering is to win the war. And that is why we heard that loud and clear from the Ukrainians. We need the lethal aid now. They said, we don't need more statements, more press conferences. We need action. We need the aircraft. We need the lethal aid now. They said there's a window to get it. It's where it's going to be most beneficial, and it's now. So I'm grateful for Senator Ernst and this bipartisan delegation that was able to travel together and stand unified in our support for the people of Ukraine.